Hey everyone, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jen, and welcome to Devilish Bookworms, the podcast.
where we read and review books and release episodes every Tuesday.
This week we have Dark Bloom by Molly Macabre.
Yay!
The downfall of society is something that we all have thought about at one point or another. Where would we go? What would we take with us? Would we survive? And of course, the most important question of all, how do we kill the animated corpse that's laughing as it stumbles towards us? Unfortunately for Kate, she is forced to answer these questions herself. That is, until she meets a mysterious man and has to decide whether to team up and face the monsters together or if she's safer alone. Whichever path she chooses, the life ahead of her has to be so much brighter than the hellish past she left behind. Dun, dun,
Dun, dun,
dun.
dun. So, this book it has some heavy themes. So, before you read this book, check these content warnings. We have domestic violence, sexual assault, forced drug use, gore, suicide, zombie murder, including that of zombie children, loss of a loved one, medical horror, depictions of war.
Seriously, please pay attention to these because it's, especially the domestic violence, it is very heavy.
Yeah, this
Very,
book's
very
heavy,
heavy.
man.
Yeah. Like when we first started reading it, we're texting each other back and forth, and she gave me the warning first, and I was like, oh, okay. So then I got further into it. I'm like, ooh, yeesh. This is rough. Like it is not something to take lightly. So
Yeah, the first day I texted you, I was like, this book is making me feel very sad and lonely. And but listen, here's the thing. Um, we kept reading because it
we
was
did.
fantastic, but it's heavy. So just keep that in mind.
Fair warning.
Yeah. One of these trigger warnings actually for the record, I DNF'd it, but not because it was a bad book. I had to DNF me, Rachel, had to DNF because of one of these triggers. And I made it the book is like 200 and what was it, 298? I think it was 298 pages. Yeah. And I made it to 238. So I almost finished it. But Molly, if you're listening, you know what happens on page 238, and I had to tap out. I was like, you know what? I can't do that. So anyway.
When Rachel told me that she was tapping out, I was like, all right, I'll take one for the team and I'll storm through it. I got this. I will say 238 was a bit rough.
Mhm.
But y- you know, it it got better.
And you know why? I feel like without giving too many spoilers away, I can say this. Molly, I couldn't be in his head. And I'm going to leave it at that. But um I skimmed the rest of the book, and so I got where we were going, you know. I just yeah.
Sometimes there are certain things that just affect people more than others, and this was one that affected Rachel more than it affected me.
It was so good though. I'll stop. Okay. Anyway, well, the cover. We'll talk more later.
Yeah, so let's talk about that cover real quick.
The cover is fantastic.
Oh, that's what like really drew me to the book. Like, don't get me wrong, there's other books that have been on the TBR, but I actually kept pestering Rachel to read this. I was like, hey, how about Dark Bloom? How about it? Huh? 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 And so, I mean, the fact that you have zombie hands coming up out of the dirt and grabbing a skull is just fucking awesome, regardless. But you definitely get the full like zombie apocalypse right from that one image.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
Um, I loved. Okay, I'm gonna bring up the dedication. They're so normally like we lump the dedication notes from the author and all of that into one. This dedication, I loved it because it was like a personal dedication. So she said, I dedicate this book to my mom, my biggest fan, most steadfast supporter, and harshest critic. Thank you for believing in me and always having your red pen ready, and for loving my apostrophes even when they don't belong. I love you so much.
Let me tell you, the way that she wrote "I love you so much" with all the apostrophes in there, I started giggling. I was like, "That's so cute." It was really adorable.
Yeah, you can feel the love.
You really can. So go, mom, for being such a great supporter.
Mm-hmm. And then we also had there was a note from the author, and then there's a playlist. And I have to shout this out. There's a song from Ren on the playlist, and I love Ren. I shout it from the rooftops. I love him. Um. Anyway, I just had to throw that in there.
Nothing wrong with that.
So, in the book, there's this like zombie apocalypse, end of the world, end of days, whatevs. Kate is by herself, and we actually see a lot of Kate's memories. So the book is written in the present, obviously, and we have Kate and Nick, and they're like the main characters. And Kate, we see her past in, we have a lot of memories from her, and then she is stumbling along and living her life, surviving, even though we have all of these zombies. And then she meets Nick, and then we get a lot of his past in the story. But I want to say, so the book isn't about zombies. There's a lot of zombies in it. There's a lot of breaking and entering. There's a lot of crime
Mm.
that happens. But the story is about them. It's about Nick and Kate, which is so cool to have a huge, like, even though there was so much world building, there was so much, and she did it well. It wasn't just like blet, 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 info dump, info dump, info dump. Um, there was so much scene setting and so much, like, you could feel the world that she was building. And even though that she did that so well, you could tell that the story was about Nick and Kate.
And honestly, the way that she brought them together was beautifully done. Like it was kind of rough to read, but at the same time, it was
Mm-hmm.
like it was so perfect for their story to start out that way. And
Mm-hmm.
I think he was exactly what she needed at the time and then became even more of what she needed. And you know what? It was kind of like a one hand washes the other. Like he needed her just as much as she needed him. And yeah.
You said it so well. It was the perfect way for them to meet, because I think for both of them, it was evocative of situations in pasts, but so different. I think it was I loved it. I don't even know how to explain it. It was perfect. It was the same but different and better. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying. Molly knows what I'm
Yes.
saying.
It was literally so perfect. But I love and I think the way that she did the past snippets were perfect because in different chapters we get little snippets of each one of their pasts and mostly we get a lot of Kate's past, but at the same time the way that she went about it and the details that she put into it were just they were heart-wrenching but also like
Mm-hmm.
they needed to be there. And I think if she would have wrote this any different, it wouldn't have worked. It would have fell flat. It would have lost its mark. And it didn't. It hit its mark. It pulled on every single one of your heartstrings that you could possibly have. I mean, there was points where I thought I was going to start crying. I literally lost it at certain points where I had to put the book down, walk away, and then come back. And this book fucked me up. Like I was really sad
Mhm.
for days. So bravo on the way that you did that. But God, my poor heart.
Yeah. I love that you put it like that because it really couldn't have been told any other way. And literally, there were some parts that were so horrifying, but they needed to be there, like you said. It was, I've never read a book that I simultaneously hated and loved so much. You know what I mean? When you started a new chapter and you realized that it was Kate's past, I like my stomach dropped and like oof, it's so awful, but in the best, not even in the best way. It's the story was so creative and so well done and like I don't even know. I'm at a loss for words. But yes, it couldn't have been written any other way and she did a phenomenal job.
Well, I think the biggest point that I can make with her past points or her past chapters were the fact that she really hit home for people that are going through or have been through domestic violence, and like it opens up your eyes to a different side of domestic violence. Sometimes you think it's just screaming and hitting, but sometimes it's so much more. And she really did people, I can't say a service by telling it like this, but at the same time, more people need to hear stories like this to actually see a different side of what doesn't get said, because these are sometimes stories that will never come to light because of how horrifying they are.
Mhm.
Ooh, I'm gonna get choked up.
Yeah, yeah, it's rough. I preferred the laughing zombies. Those laughing zombies were fucking wild, dude.
Oh,
Laugh. No, no, thank
could
you.
could you imagine just something all of a sudden
I
behind
would
you? Like
throw up. Ugh.
I could not. Like just a zombie in general, like you would think like groaning and all of that is horrifying, but then you think of them laughing.
Yo, she made him
Fuck that.
laugh. Ugh.
So
Oh, and then
creepy.
you know what's funny is no, her Instagram account, she made a post and it was like if you think because it's on Audible. So everyone, if you want to listen to it, it's on Audible. But she said the post said something along the lines of if you think the laughing zombies were creepy, you should hear how it's brought to life. I'm like, no, thank you, ma'am.
No.
Nah, I'm
Oh,
good. Thanks for
excuse me.
playing. Absolutely not.
Listen, I already have enough nightmares from this book. I don't need any more.
Yeah. So obviously zombies, and we already said that you know, the story is mainly about Kate and Nick, but I love how much time was spent on the actual surviving itself, breaking into different people's homes. There were a couple of times where like they stayed in abandoned homes. There was a couple of times where, they uh, things that, just that they did to survive.
Mm.
And this I had the same appreciation in for Brian's books Life
Oh,
After.
Brian Way, yeah.
You know how like yeah, you know how like he spent a lot of time on like the getting from point A to point B and like remembering to grab certain things and
Hmm.
um it was this book did things that I wouldn't have even thought of, like um mostly breaking into people's houses, I think, and like using all of the supplies that you have to your advantage and like the different things that you would find in different people's houses.
And even like the little bits of like finding a different communities, or the fact of not using a car or using a car, like the minor little things that you wouldn't think of. I mean, making just little noises or the sound of an engine, like those aren't things that you normally think of, but like obviously like finding food is obviously a precious resource, but at the same time, when you also find communities of people, like, do you trust them? Do you not trust them? Are you sleeping with one eye open? Are you separating if you are? Like, there's so many different things to think about. And it's not something that, like, everybody's going to obviously think of, which is why an or a zombie apocalypse like this, so many people would die because we don't have that type of instinct. Like, well, I shouldn't say we, but not everybody does.
Yeah.
So it was really cool how she tied everything together, but also like even the finest little details that, normal people don't think of.
Yeah. I have to say my favorite part was at the house in the rain on the porch.
Oh, yeah.
Because not every part was heavy, and I loved that, because in reality not every part would be heavy. Like there would be little reprieves. There would be little bits of like, well, there's no zombie right now.
Yeah. And you know what? I appreciated those moments. Even the little moments when they sat there and had dinner together, or just I don't know, they laughed and joked, but at the same time there was still the serious problems.
Yeah. And the characters, I think, reacted so like realistically, because you have the horrors of their pasts. They both have such insane horror, like horrifying pasts. And then you obviously have like the situation that they're in now. And then, they're just meeting each other for the first time. So it's the same, like, you know, trying to figure each other out, and what things can you say and what things can you not say, and like, how does this person do life, and then do life with their horrors, and then do life with their horrors and zombies and being hungry and not showered. And
Yep.
I thought it was nuts. It was so good. I couldn't finish it, but it was so good.
It really was good because I mean, the attention to detail and also just the sheer like creativity of it was just on point.
Yeah. And then the twist on page 238. Well, not
Oh,
even twist, but like kind of twist. The direction that the storyline went into, I there no one thinks of that. No
yeah.
one thinks of that.
Listen,
Wild.
I
Absolutely
was
wild.
I was like on the edge of my seat for like the last like 30-ish pages. Well, maybe not 30-ish. Yeah. The end. So, okay, listen.
Can you say it without spoilers, bro?
Yes, there was a few things that I would have done different if I made it to the end of that book. Like if I was in the position of Kate in the end of that book.
Yeah.
I like I applaud her for being able to restrain herself.
To not stab someone in the face.
Yes, because I
Mm-hmm.
could never.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker. Oh,
She's a stronger person than I am.
ditto.
Well, not stronger, better. Like she's like whatever.
So, because this was such a short book and we can't give many details, this is obviously going to be a shorter episode. But I have to know, who was your favorite character?
Um, my favorite character is both of them. There were more than just two characters, but I loved them. I loved Nick. I loved Nick. Can we hold on for everything that man went through, and then still give her the grace to, deal with her, like her things that she had going on. Like, he was patient, he was kind. I just the fact that he allowed her to heal, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
While being her safety net.
Oh my god. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
And
I
then
mm, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. And then I just love her for after everything that she went through, to be open to not punishing him for it, you know,
Hmm.
to, to trust it. Both of them. Yes.
I can see that for sure. For me, he was obviously my favorite because he did all the right things. And that's not easy to do with someone that's been through that much. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Page 238, you son of a bitch.
oh goodness. I think I love you. Well, no, not I think. I know I love you. So, do you happen to have any favorite quotes?
I actually did not think I was going to, but I did.
Okay.
So I think my favorite quote is something that I have struggled to put into words my whole life. Um, and she said it. She said it on page 92. But mostly, he was haunted by the thought that someone could contain so much hate that they could torment an innocent, well, this says innocent woman, but I say innocent, anyone, like just that the fact that there are some people that have just so much hate and just so much venom that they could just unleash it on people who don't deserve it. And we all kind of do it a little bit, to a little extent, like snapping at someone when you're mad at something else, like, but but yeah, that quote was my favorite of all of them. um and then when Nick said, "There's not a fucking thing that could stop me from coming back."
Oh, that was on my list too.
That's all I
Oh,
got.
oh, real. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a few. First one, there were few things more frightening in the world than the unknown intentions of a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because facts,
Yeah.
fucking facts. Um, the beauty she felt was a stranger to her, trying to pluck out all the demeaning words that had been worked into her skin all her life, if only the degradation had not been rooted so deep.
There yeah. God, you just want to cry for Kate,
Yeah.
and everyone who's ever been in a situation like Kate. And yeah. Oh, what was your last one?
Um, oh, this one got me. The persistent yearning for the torment to end consumed each day. Just one strong blow would have taken her out, as weak as she was. One strong blow to break her free from the torment of the metal bars in the basement walls into whatever afterlife would accept her broken soul. Listen, this book fucked me up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough, man.
Mm. Yes, but it was so good. Like I
Yeah.
I just teared up. You know I don't tear up for books.
That is a bold-faced lie, but I understand what you're saying.
Like, listen, this if I would have let it, this book would have made me break down and cry, like full on
Yeah.
sobs. But I couldn't let it because I can't let shit break me anymore. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no, the way she dove straight, just head first into the human condition, and just like,
ripped
just the
out your
way,
soul.
yeah, just ripped out your soul. It just, I would recommend this
Um,
book to any person who who is even a slight horror fan.
Yeah, for sure. I would definitely you know, domestic violence survivors, like, please take heed, or
Yeah.
take, like, this was rough. Read at your
Yeah,
own
it's
pace
rough.
if you try, but
Even if you're not a survivor, it's rough, but if you are,
yeah. Why don't you tell us about Molly?
yes. So, Dark Bloom was written by horror author Molly Macabre. Molly has a YouTube channel where she posts macabre content, as well as an Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, and more. You can learn more about Molly, her projects, and handles for all of her socials at her website, macabremolly.com. MACABREMOLLY.com. And Jen, what are we reading next?
Next, we are reading Quicksilver by Callie Hart.
Silverfish, yay!
Oh my God. You've been killing me with that.
I don't know why. I don't know why I could not remember it for the life of me at first.
Oh, it was just so funny. All of a sudden, is this Silverfish?
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Devilish Bookworms.
If you want to chat with us, be sure to check us out on Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
You can also find our podcast on YouTube and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.